Welcome to After Dark at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, featuring Katrina Ness, Vanessa Collins, and Ted Ings. This episode is brought to you by BG Products, partners beyond products. And now for your hosts, Ted Ings, Vanessa Collins, and Katrina Ness.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Wednesday night, and welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable's After Dark show. Tonight, we are back after this long summer of not having many After Dark shows, but this is our second one back at it. And we are joined by Don ANDRES, Ted Ings, and Vanessa Collins and myself, and we're so happy to be back.
Katrina, welcome. Thank you for that opening. Vanessa, welcome. And want to welcome the next big superstar in our industry, the author of this book, Fail to Grow. Don ANDRES is with us today out of Ohio. Don, welcome to After Dark at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks, Ted. Thanks for the invite. I'm excited to be here. And Vanessa and Katrina, great to see you guys as well. Thanks for the invite.
So Don, these guys are like old pros now at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We met them at Northwood University, where Katrina and Vanessa both go to school in Midland, Michigan, last October at the 60th Annual International Auto Show. And we're going to be heading back up there this October for the 61st. Katrina, tell us a little bit about what's going on at Northwood for that event.
So every fall, Northwood has its own student-led auto show, and this is like 3 full days jam-packed of, industry professionals coming together, students running this amazing auto show with over 60 different brands, 500 vehicles, $60 million worth of assets. It's super cool, and this will be Ted's second year of bringing his whole crew and the Fixed Ops Roundtable to join us at the auto show, and we're going to have another amazing pop-up event, and we're going to have a lot of our friends from the Fixed Ops Roundtable come, and of course, everyone watching this is more than welcome to come.
All right, that's going to be the first weekend in October in Midland, Michigan. You want to join us there. Vanessa, last year you were the social media chair. What are you this year at the auto show?
Yeah, so last year I was the social media chair. This year I'm the marketing chair. So I'm doing a lot of the same role, except for now I'm handling a lot more of the physical marketing efforts. So I actually just got off a call talking about our marketing budget, where we want to allocate our money and what mediums we want to use to market the show. I'm also working with a lot of signage and digital marketing efforts as well.
Wow.
Now, is there going to be another CDK Women's Roundtable? I think it was on Saturday of the event last time. I hope that there's going to be another one this year.
Yeah, there is going to be another one. I believe it is still on Saturday morning, Katrina, if you want to confirm that. Yeah. Saturday morning. It is run and sponsored by CDK. We are talking about doing a headshot station there, which was a special request from one of the CDK members, which I think would be super cool. And it would kind of incentivize students, especially freshmen who don't have a headshot to build out their LinkedIn, to come, learn from our industry, women professionals in this automotive industry, and get a headshot as well.
So Don, we had no intention that we would hire one, let alone 2 interns from Northwood University. But the students were the star of the show. People like you and I who came in from out of town, we interviewed a lot of dignitaries in automotive, but really it was the students on the student panels who really ran away with everything, their professionalism, their attitudes towards their careers. And by the way, we're live tonight. I see Roger Conant, I see John Fairchild I see Tony Owens. But Don, they were so professional that we said, you know what, we had them on as guests, and we said we have to give this a try and see how it works out. And Katrina and Vanessa have met so many people, and so many people have met them as well.
That's awesome to have it that early in your career, being able to establish relationships like that. And of course, that happens because of what? Hard work, right? Hard work puts you in a position like that. So great job. That's awesome.
Thank you. Honestly, the auto show for me has been kind of my connector into the automotive industry in general. It's definitely, what introduced me to CDK, and it's where I met Ted, and the Fixed Ops Roundtable was at the 60th auto show in 2023. So I'm forever grateful for the auto show and the experience I've learned from it. And I would encourage every single person that attends Northwood to try to get involved in the auto show in some way.
Yeah. Trevor Shannon from Dynatron in the chat. Good evening. Go ahead.
I have definitely put together auto shows just from a single dealership standpoint. So I can't fathom the amount of work that goes into that, but it's always a blast. It's always a good time.
Yeah.
So that's great.
And Don, some of the vehicles that were there, Rick Hendrick, as a visual behind the pop-up at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, which was in the known aftermarket building, had these 3 classic vehicles set up behind us. I believe one was a Mustang, one was a Camaro. I don't recall what the third one was, but I mean, just amazing inventory of vehicles and the students are in charge of the whole thing. They run the whole thing. They prepare all year for it, and it's quite an event.
Mr. Hendrick's Heritage Museum is spectacular. If he's willing to let a few of those vehicles out of that museum for you guys, that's special. That's special.
And I'll close with this on that Northwood event. These 2 young ladies were in very big demand because when it came time for summer internships, which of course, many students want, you had big companies, really battling back and forth over who was going to get Vanessa Collins. And I mean, that was a tug of war. Okay. And that was really something. So there was a lot of people after the talent on here. And Katrina, that dealership group that you're with in Maryland, that's a big group.
Yeah, Pohanka's a wonderful group. The way that they run their stores and how customer focused it is. And, it's very employee focused as well. They take care of their employees. It's a lot of, responsibility put on each and every individual, and they hold themselves to a high standard while delivering amazing customer service. And I've had an amazing time learning and growing with this organization.
Awesome.
All right. Yeah. Linda, good evening. Tom, good evening to you. By the way, everybody, earlier today, maybe about 12:45 Eastern, you may have received a text from the Fixed Ops Roundtable with a picture of some of us on there, some of the anchors. And that is, a lot of people responded to that. That's our new texting platform that we're going to be using not only to market the events, we're going to do that to let you and alert you of who's in the lineup. And we're going to have pictures and graphics and videos. So stay tuned for more on those texts and a lot coming. Don, I'm not sure if you know Linda Hansen, but she's a great force within our industry as well, also from Ohio.
Nice. I believe that I watched a couple of roundtables that she was on. Is that right? Because I managed through all 4 days on the previous roundtable and loved it. It was great.
Yep. And we got that big one coming up in September. We'll do a plug for that. But right now, I know the ladies have some questions for you, Don.
Sure.
As you're here for your inaugural After Dark at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Yeah. So, Don, starting out with this question. So, your book, Why Auto Service Departments Fail to Grow. So, that's awesome that you authored a book. Amazing. And I just want to know, why did you write the book and who is it for?
Yeah, so I started off really thinking that it would be a great book just to help service advisors, right? They struggle. We ask them to do so much, and invariably it gets a little hectic. It gets a little chaotic. And so over the years, I had certainly gained a lot of wisdom when it came to what works and what doesn't work in the service drive. And so I kind of started in with that initiative to help service advisors, make it easy and simple to grasp, and something that would certainly make them more money. Turns out it didn't take long at all before I realized what I really was writing was a book to manage a service drive. That in fact, many of the things that were causing stress and chaos with the writers was in fact management that was putting them in a position that caused a lot of this. So so that became a great project then, an expanded project in this idea of teaching leadership, teaching how to, as a service manager, get out of our own way. So many managers are promoted because of their great talent, right? Whether they were a technician, whether they were a service advisor, they had great talent. And I was one of them that then takes on this challenge of managing a service department. But very quickly, you realize it's a completely different job. So the book in the end is really a great guide for service managers, and really, I will say owners and general managers who also may know the numbers, but don't necessarily know exactly what a service department should be concentrated on, what they should be addressing on a daily basis to put them in a position to be successful and really to stop that turnover that happens both with advisors and even technicians. So yeah, good fun project by the time it was all said and done, and something I was pretty proud of.
So everybody, if you want to pick up the book, it's on Amazon. I see the ladies. I'm not sure if it's Sarah or Katrina or Vanessa. They've put the link in the comments. There we go. So if you click on that, that'll take you to Amazon. It's available in both paperback and hard copy. I got the paperback. I think Sarah did as well. It's a great read. What about 95 pages done, I think?
Yeah. I know that service managers and general managers don't have time for novels, so kept it short, kept the chapters short, keeps it moving, and some nice stories that they could relate to as well, that they might have even experienced or in the middle of experiencing. So yeah, it's a fun read, I think.
Easy read. I read it on a flight down to Florida, and then after I was there a couple hours, I picked it up again and finished the book. But, like you said, easy read and very worthwhile.
Yeah, Don, that's truly amazing. And in a time where, we're struggling as a whole industry with a shortage of technicians and stuff like that, you find that retention and managing from the top and how you're doing it is so important. So I think that would be a very valuable book for all, employees in the service lane to understand and read, from management to all the way down to advisors.
Yeah, technician retention at the end of the day really is so top of mind right now, isn't it? With this idea of technicians moving. Some of that really stems from chaos and stress that might be happening up front. The money's not there that they need. And so they sometimes can get lured away into taking another offer. And of course, if we're not turning hours, we're not being productive in a service department.
And Katrina, you got to experience what it's like working on the actual service drive this summer under some very tense conditions, if I may add.
Yeah, so I am doing a rotational internship at Pohanka, like I talked about earlier. So I'm spending about 2 weeks to a week in each department of the dealership to kind of understand how the processes all come together and work as a whole. And my 2 weeks that I was in fixed operations, I spent about a week and a half in the service lane and like the cashier, checking out our maintenance customers. And that is when CDK was down, and it was really interesting. It was crazy because it was hard because I didn't get to learn about how the processes are actually supposed to run, but it was interesting because you see how we all have to adapt to things that you never know could happen. So we went back in time to doing handwritten ROs and no iPads to scan the customer's car, just all written on paper, and it was crazy.
Wow. What a great intern that turned out to be. You'll remember that for years to come, because when those things happen, it could be as innocent as just simply a lightning storm and takes out the power in the building. We all have experienced that. Mm-hmm. To be able to go, no, this is not a big deal. We know what needs to be done, and not panic and go, that's invaluable.
Right. And so from your experiences in service drives, and I've learned too that the mornings tend to be, hectic and they can be chaotic. And this is with advisors and customers and the phones ringing. And I know technology wants to be a help, like we were talking about, but where does customer engagement and selling kind of fit into that equation?
Well, that's a great question, because everybody wants to help. Everybody recognizes the service advisor is asked to do a lot. If you ever look at his desktop or her desktop, you just see these apps that are all opened up, and you realize everybody's trying to help. But along the way, if you're not engaging with the customer and you're not connecting with them during that write-up process and really genuinely talking to them about what's going to happen today, here's when I anticipate the vehicle to be done, which are real questions a customer really wants to know. Then when it's time for those additional needed services, if you haven't connected, they're not quite sure who you are. And if they're not quite sure and you're calling, or even if it's video texting and things of that nature, they're just not quite sure, it becomes very easy to say no. Even if they actually do realize they need it, they're just not sure, they say no. So we want our write-up time, no matter how busy it may get. And I've certainly been in stores where we did 200 vehicles coming through a day, and most of them wanted to come in the morning. You still had to carve out a situation where you were prepared. And now I'm engaging the customer in real conversations, talking about, here's what's really going to happen today. By the way, we're going to be doing a multi-point inspection. I'll give you the results of that when you come to pick up your vehicle, or something jumps out at me at all, I'll call you and let you know that as well. And so now when I'm reaching out to them, even if it's to say, hey, I've got this great video I want to show you of the inspection of your vehicle, I'm still having a conversation, still connecting. And that's when they go, yeah, let's go ahead and get it done. Sure, you're right. Whatever you think is right. And that's the difference, I think.
I see, by the way, I see Claudia in the chat. Claudia, welcome. And I had your boss here today. Dennis McGinn and Josh DeYoung were both recording for the roundtable. So thank you for all your support at Rapid Recon. We love what you folks are doing. Tony, don't buy the Bitcoin. Watch out for that, okay? Anyway, I'm sorry, Katrina, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I was in a meeting today, and we were talking about the importance of like communication with customers. And we were talking about how like they may just be in for an oil change and a tire rotation, and then something comes up and they need more. But at that point, they're already sitting and they're already waiting for their vehicle to get done. And then it's like, you come out and you tell them, oh, you might need this, this, and this. And they're like, no, I want to go home. You know,
Sure.
So it goes on to the point where you need good communication, and technology can always be a help with that as well.
I think so. I think getting that multi-point inspection done early in the process, you want to have a structured quick lube that allows that still to happen. But hey, there are lots of reasons people say no, right? It could be time is one of them. And that's okay. That happens in our industry. But almost immediately you want to go into a plan that says, okay, let's put together a plan to see if we can still get this done over the coming weeks. And people will pause and they'll go, especially if they believe and trust and they've built that relationship with you, they know the car needs it. And now all you're going to do is work around their busy life and then get them back in. So you're right. Time can be one of the most common reasons people say no, but have a plan. Have a plan. Right. And the book kind of talks about that as well, too.
Yeah. And on the topic of, time and people's busy lives, we know time is money. So I was wondering, when talking about customers, how many times is the first question that a customer asks during the write-up, when will I get my vehicle back, as opposed to how much will it cost?
Yeah. You would, if you interviewed somebody, you would assume it's money. But you interview an advisor, and he'll say, oh no, it's all about when am I getting my car back. And if you're a service department that is opening the doors, letting the customers come in and discovering at that moment really what they're bringing it in for, that's usually when you end up with the customer going, and by the way, this check engine light that you guys are fixing, I need the car back today by 2:00. Mm-hmm. And you're okay, well, we'll be lucky if we can get into the shop by 2:00. We're that busy. But the customer doesn't know that. They just know their lives revolve around that car. So you discover very quickly what's going on in customers' lives during the write-up process. And yes, the number one reason, more than money, I believe, is when am I getting my car back? Yeah. So the good stores have that figured out. They planned for the day. They got the pre-work orders done. They've actually, in some cases, know which tech's getting it. And so they're giving estimated time of completion. And they'll say to a customer, how does that work into your schedule? And if it does, great. If they say, well, no, that's not going to work. Well, this is the time to figure it out first thing in the morning, as opposed to, at noon now trying to scramble to get it done.
Right.
I'm bringing my car in for service tomorrow morning, everybody, by the way. and by the way, the time or money, the first thing I went to was the time done on mine, right?
Yeah.
Because they told me they wouldn't have a loaner car available. So I went right to the time, and I don't want to wait. So anyway, tomorrow morning we'll see how it goes.
There you go. All right, so we talked a little bit about like the shortage on technicians, but why in general would technicians leave in the first place, and what could be done so they don't even start looking to begin with?
Yeah, so I will tell you, in all the years I've been doing this, if there's one thing a technician needs, that's a flat rate technician, and we're talking for the most part flat rate technicians here. And that is, they can't just live in the world of diagnostics. Diagnostics, even just customer pay. Now, if it's warranty, that's really a tough deal. Diagnosing and then trying to beat the warranty time is challenging. The manufacturers have figured out how to tighten the reins on that. But when it's even customer pay, those also can be difficult diagnoses. So we're fixing those cars, we're getting through that, but we rely heavily on additional needed services to get done and sold to pad that area where I don't need to be diagnosed. I can turn my brain off and just bang out those brakes. I can do that water pump. I can do things that we find in the car that needs to be done, and I don't require that diagnosis. So there's where I can beat my times. It pays 2 hours for brakes, and I can do it in 45 minutes, 50 minutes. Why? Because I've been doing it for 20 years. And so in those situations, that gets me productive. That gets me into my 55, 60 hours in a 40, 45 hour work week. So I'm being 120, 150% productive. I'm happy. My flat rate that I have is probably in the market. And so I'm fine. In fact, many will not leave because they're just not sure at that other place whether or not they have as good of a situation as they have here. So they don't take the phone call. But if you're not, if you're struggling and you're going through turnover with advisors, they're just not getting trained up. They don't know how to prepare for themselves. And now we're getting a lot of declines of those additional needed services. Well, okay, so now I've got a struggling tech to get to 40 hours. And God forbid he gets into a really tough diagnosis, and now he had himself a 30-hour work week. And so guess what? Now they get frustrated. Now they take that phone call when somebody might reach out to them.
Right.
Good point.
So,
David Lucas is in the chat. He says good morning. He says that he does say that because he's in Australia.
Australia.
So David,
My
good
goodness.
morning to you. So
Good morning, David. Oh, top of the morning. That's great. So our last question for you is, if technicians need more non-diagnostic work, so maintenance, to stay happy, how can the dealership increase that if customers are declining more additional work, and especially in this tough economic climate? How are dealerships navigating that?
Yeah, two things. Really, we want the work done before the customer arrives. If I've totally prepared and I know exactly what they're coming in for, whether it's just maintenance or whether it's a real prime concern that needs to be addressed, I want that work done so I can review it in the first 10, 15 seconds of the initial greeting. And now I'm right into having a conversation about what's your plans with the vehicle. Here's what's going to happen today. Hey, I took a look at your history. There was a couple things that had come due last time. You held off on them. Did those get done? The good news is I can get it done on this visit. I know how tough it is to get in here. These are all conversations that I'm able to have with a customer. I've had advisors go as far as to say, look, it's my job to take care of your vehicle. So that's one less thing you have to worry about. I'll always keep you up to speed on it. I'll always make it as convenient as possible for you, but it's my job to remember what's going on with your vehicle. Those people are getting the initial yeses of additional needed services, especially mileage-based services, right in the drive. But the other part of it is, and I talk about it in the book, is this idea of people will decline. There's lots of reasons. Certainly economically right now it's a challenge, right? That's okay. It happens. But what is your plan then to still get those done? And what's that conversation look like on an active delivery that gets that work done and gets a plan to get that work done? It's twofold, right? The customer who already trusts you is saying, that'd be great. Yeah, why don't you give me a call in another month and I'll loop back in and we'll see if we can get that done. Meanwhile, the technician who did this great multi-point inspection, everything was great, didn't get all the work authorized that he hoped for, but the customer loops back in a month, you give it right back to that same technician. And so what does that mean for him? Hey, They are that good, and I've always got sold work coming in, so I'm always going to do a really good quality multi-point inspection. And so we talk about that in the book as well. So this active delivery, this plan when a customer declines, you get to that level of service operations, and the growth, the gross, the net is consistent every month.
Don, I don't think you've met Tully yet on one of these panels. You will, okay? Tully Williams. Tully says it's all about the hours. He also says it's about same-day selling, okay? We got to sell those hours today, okay? While the car is here, while the vehicle's in the shop. And you're right, we need a plan to do that. You can't sell yesterday's hours. We got to sell today's hours, same day. So,
yeah, you're exactly right. You have to have that relationship. You have to have a plan. And you've got to be able to connect with them, and so you're absolutely right. It's a twofold thing. You have to value this work has to be done. There has to be a commitment by the writer to realize this work actually needs to get done, as opposed to, oh, I'm just going to sell what's on a multi-point inspection. Oh, that's what I got today. It doesn't work that way. You really have to have compassion and a realistic understanding of a customer and what the car needs. If you can get those two to pair up, you get a lot of yeses.
Tony says video inspections are a must. And you know what? The video inspections have really helped in California. Tully's 10 dealerships, they pay the tech in California, in Sacramento. He pays a half hour, and he pays that because they want a really good video inspection of the vehicle to be able to send to the customer. And a lot of people initially have questioned that. But yeah, it's like a block of ice, right, Linda? Once it melts, it's gone forever. But that's worked really well for Tully and the Nilo Group.
I think it's a throwback. I mean, I've been doing this since '79. There was a time when the search visor was called into a bay. The car was already in the air. The technician was literally going through the vehicle, pointing out things. My father took a car to a Texaco station. The car, he never went in to see the owner or anything of that nature. The tech would put the car in the air and they'd be underneath it together. That's really where I got started. And I'll be honest with you, this video inspection is literally taking us back to that, where the technician is pointing out true, concerns. And now it's just a matter of connecting with the customer to get them to understand, answer the questions, and get the approvals. But yeah, that's a powerful way to expose what the needs are.
And we're doing a couple of projects, Don. We'll talk offline about it, but we're doing them with some big companies to actually show the tech how to do that video, okay, and make it a little bit more personable, make it shorter, something the customer, as you know, we track which ones get open, but to help the tech do a better video presentation to the customer. And there's a couple of techniques that we've seen that are really effective in doing that. So
it's needed. It's needed. It's great. I think it is the future.
All right. So it looks like Katrina and I are on the beach. We're not really, but we're getting ready for the big event, which is coming up in about 6 weeks. Here it is. Look at that. It's coming up, and it's Summer Palooza. And Vanessa, what are the dates on this now?
Yeah, so Summer Palooza, it's going to be our biggest event yet, September 16th through the 19th. As always, 4 days, all virtual and online, and you can get your complimentary tickets right now at fixedopsroundtable.com. Summer has gone by fast, but it's not over yet until our Summer Palooza. So make sure to grab those complimentary tickets, and we'll see you there.
Yep, you see Ed Roberts and Sean Kingery on there with Sarah and Tully. And by the way, Don Andres is going to be a big part of the event. He's already been on a number of segments, and there's more to come. So looking forward to that. And Don, real fun and real honor to have you on the round.
Well, thanks. I appreciate you taking the time. I am curious, Vanessa. I have to ask, what got you to go to Northwood? It's always great to see females going into the car business, and I know that Katrina, you've got some family in the car business. And tell me, Vanessa, what has got you interested in Northwood and the car business?
So Northwood's actually kind of in my backyard, so it's only 15 minutes away. I do live on campus, but I liked that I would be close to family, and I took marketing all throughout high school. So I knew I wanted to do marketing, and I'm very business minded. So I knew that going to Northwood, a private business school, I would be surrounded by like-minded people. But I did not go there thinking I was going to be in the automotive industry, and I didn't even go there knowing anything about it being an automotive school and the auto show and the majors there. I just kind of fell into it, kind of like a lot of people in the automotive industry do. I started out as a captain for Team Genesis at the auto show, and I just wanted to do that because I liked event planning and I thought designing a booth would be fun. But and at the time I wanted to do wedding planning. But since that, I got on the executive board, and that is really when all of these doors started flying open for me. And I really do love this industry, and it's definitely not an industry I ever thought I would be in, but that's just kind of how life goes.
Perfect. Yeah. I love it.
We've watched the evolution for Vanessa in the last year, and it's been pretty amazing. And she's got to go to NADA, and she's another big mover and shaker along with Katrina Ness. So congratulations to all of you, both of you. So.
The car business pulls you in. It really is. But it's been a great career, a very rewarding career, because you truly are helping people. And of course, it's been a great place to make a living.
So everybody, if you haven't picked up the book yet, you can go to Amazon. The link is in the chat. It's called While Auto Service Departments Fail to Grow. Here it is. Author is Don Andres. I've read the book. A great read, an easy read. Look at the quote from Les Silver, Katrina, on the cover of that book. Put it back up if you can for a second. Les Silver's quote is at the very, very top of the cover. There we go. Executive Chairman of Dynatron Software. And boy, he's a great person to know. And what a big industry, what a small circle.
I was very fortunate. I sent the manuscript out to a handful of people, and Les and I go back many, many years, all the way back to Nugent days. But a number of people got Ed Roberts to read and give me some great insight in the manuscript. And so I've been very fortunate. I had some leaders in the industry really take some time and give me some great advice, and it helped, I think, make the book that much better.
Wow. Katrina Nugent, we know some people who worked for Nugent in the past.
We did.
Okay. All right. So everybody, thank you for being here tonight. We're going to be back on Monday with another After Dark show. We're live from here on in, and we're looking forward to a great show in September, having Don with us and learning a lot more about the retail auto industry and what's ahead. Not only do we have the event in September, everybody, we've got a bunch of pop-ups coming up in October. Right after that, there'll be another one at the International Auto Show. First weekend in October at Midland, Michigan. There'll be one at Reynolds & Reynolds on October 9th in Dayton, Ohio. There's a number of them at dealerships as well in October, so we'll get the schedule out to everybody. And on behalf of Don and Vanessa and Katrina and Garth, good work, guys. And thanks for being here, everybody, and we'll see you on Monday night. Thanks, Don.
Thanks for having me.